Guys, another video. Today we're gonna be.
I was born ready.
You're born ready, but today
I was
we're gonna be.
born
What's this
ready.
video called? 10 incredible DIY zombie survival hacks. We're gonna need this soon because obviously the apocalypse is gonna happen soon, right?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. Monkeypox.
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 Other things, maybe. You gotta be prepared. Anyway, you wanna start up?
That's right.
Start it up, shall we?
Yeah. Watch together. I'm gonna hit play. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
The zombie apocalypse. The dead roam the streets, and whether it was a plague, an ancient curse, fungus spores, or mutated rabies, none of that matters now. What matters is survival. But how are you going to survive in a world where you're now the main course for billions of flesh-eating zombies? As usual, the infographic show has your back, and today we're going to teach you how to keep from being the main course with our top 10 zombie survival life hacks. Number 10. Go north. No, even further north. Our first life hack is not really a hack, it's just more a general survive this nightmare and don't get eaten tip. When the zombie apocalypse hits, you're gonna be joining millions of survivors all trying to figure out their next move. Some guy is always going
I'm only
to
joining
go
a few,
to a
bro.
government safe zone because like he totally hears they've been working on a cure there. Don't listen to him. He's just gonna send you on a pointless side plot and probably get a person or two killed while he's at it. Forget the government because you're on your own.
Yeah. Oh, I just got to ask. What about you?
Yeah, I got it as well. Bro, there's so many asses.
Anyway, we can talk a little bit. I'm not gonna go where the government tells me to go. Are you kidding me?
Facts. No way. Bro, the government's not gonna last.
Easy.
1 month and
You're gonna want to
you're
find
on
a
your
place
own.
with abundant natural
At that point,
resources because
people
from
start
now
killing
on,
each other
your
for
meals are coming
for
straight
areas,
from Mother
for
Nature
food.
herself,
Yeah.
and she doesn't deliver on Uber
only
Eats.
the
More
strong-minded
importantly,
For
you want
items
to go
and
somewhere
stuff.
that zombies are going to have a
Your week
difficult
will be
time finding
eliminated.
you, or at least eating you.
Can you skip
Flesh
that?
of any kind has a pretty
Not
hard
bad.
time. Obviously, you're gonna want to get out of the
skipped it.
cities, seeing as that's where
I
most
didn't get
people
that.
live, and those people
How many
aren't
seconds
now
you got?
zombies.
No,
Staying
no,
put
it
in the
went back.
city
We're good.
will be like rolling up to a fresh lion kill and wrapping yourself up with the carcass. So while you may be tempted to be near places you can scavenge for supplies, don't. You're going to want to find a place with abundant natural resources because from now on, your meals are coming straight from Mother Nature herself, and she doesn't deliver on Uber Eats. More importantly, you want to go somewhere that zombies are going to have a difficult time finding you, or at least eating you. Flesh of any kind has a pretty hard time dealing with the cold. It tends to freeze and become very rigid and inflexible, and with no blood circulating through their dead limbs, zombies that freeze are going to become undead statues in no time at all. That's why you want to be going north. Really, really far north.
Oh, it is pretty
Like
far, wow.
literally as far north as you can get. If you've hit polar bears, then you're on the right track. Sure, survival will be a bit difficult in those extreme latitudes, but you know what else makes survival hard? Being eaten alive by zombies. In the far north of
Nah, I
Alaska
wouldn't
or
go to
Canada,
fucking
you'll
Antarctica,
only be
fuck
dealing-
that.
But you know what else makes survival
Wait,
hard?
you go back again?
Being
Oh, you
eaten
skipped
alive
that,
by
nice.
zombies. In the far north of Alaska or Canada, you'll only be dealing with approximately 3 months of mild temperatures before that thermostat starts dropping. And once it does, any zombie that's followed you up there is going to turn into a frozen popsicle.
I wouldn't
And
go
at
to the
that
snow,
point, it'll
bro.
be as simple as leisurely knocking heads off one at
it's
a
too hard
time.
to move.
Number 9.
You don't
learn
know
to
who's
get
around.
clean drinking water. Okay, so you've taken our advice and
You just
decided
make
to
your own
head
water, right?
north into the
Filter.
wilderness. Now you're going to have to deal with one of the basic necessities of life, clean drinking water. Obviously, if you can hit up any local army surplus or survival gear store, then you absolutely should do that and get yourself some handy water filtration systems. But if you missed out or if man-made filters are just like too mainstream for you, then fret not. We're going to teach you how to make a basic water filter with nothing more than a plastic bag and a bunch of rocks and dirt. First, you want to cut a very small hole at the bottom of the bag. Then line the entire bottom with a layer of rocks.
Great, I gotta add. What about you?
If you're struggling with your mental health and are
I can't
unsure
skip
who
it,
to talk to,
you?
then you should talk to us.
Did you skip it?
Make the call on your
I'm
mental
still watching
health
that.
today. Phone Head to Health for free support.
I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, I just got a second. Oh. Is he gonna go back? Ready?
Of viruses and polar bear pee, but it'll do a great job of filtering out
Fuck,
larger
didn't even go
particles
back.
and make water
goes.
mostly safe to drink. Number 8. Don't hit up an army surplus or survival store. You remember how, like 30
Yeah, I didn't
seconds
see
ago,
the
we
other
told
one,
you to
but
hit up
okay.
a surplus or survival gear store? That was a test.
Shit.
And you failed, and now you're dead. In fact, you should be doing any zombie prepping now, before the actual
You
zombies
see?
hit. Because trying
You
to do
see?
so
You
after
see?
the fact
I
is
I
probably
told you,
only
you have to
gonna
get
get
ready,
you
bro. You have to
See,
buy
it's
like
like when you
machetes,
visit an
anything.
online forum and see posts by hundreds of people
Oh my
all
God,
proclaiming
bro.
how they would hit up their local gun shop first thing and become
knew
some
it.
sort of badass zombie killing vigilante. Except literally everybody else is going to have the exact same idea. Not to mention, you know, the gun shop owners themselves, who by virtue of owning a gun
That's
shop
right.
are probably pretty heavily armed. Rather than heading to a place full of
Told you,
desperate,
man. You
terrified
always have to be
people
ready.
who are now heavily armed, just use that time to get away. You're gonna have a pretty narrow window of time to actually, who by virtue of owning a gun
just went
shop
back.
are probably pretty heavily armed. Rather than heading to a place full of desperate, terrified people who are now heavily armed, just use that time to get away. You're gonna have a pretty narrow window of time to actually use highways and city streets before they become a congested mess. And it's far better to use that time to get out of Dodge while all the internet tough guys fight each other at the gun store. Besides, you'll probably be able to hit up similar shops in much smaller population towns long after the initial wave of panic has hit and most of your competition is, well, dead. Number 7. Stop aiming for the head. Everyone
Is he gonna
knows
miss
that
shots?
the golden rule of zombie survival is to aim for the head, for some very weird reason. I mean, we're dealing with the living dead. The brain at this point is just a bunch of dead tissue. And yet the golden rule is zombies
Wow.
can't die unless you destroy the head. Well, we'll leave that for the hardcore zombie lore fans to figure out. But for the rest of us, we're worried about two things in our zombie apocalypse: survival and consumer.
Yeah, that's what I had.
With Hungry Jack's news,
Skip
Jack's
number
fried
three.
chicken.
No. If you skip it, I'm not gonna see it.
Juicy.
I'm still watching the ad.
100% Aussie chicken that will have you craving more and more. Now at Hungry Jack's.
Alright, now I'm back.
Firing
Bro, I should have just watched YouTube and share my screen.
Yeah, I know, this
Firing
is
a weapon
so
in
ass.
real life is quite a bit more difficult than video games make it out to be. There's a reason why police officers and soldiers are taught to aim center mass instead of to take sweet headshots. And that's because center mass is far easier to hit and will seriously ruin somebody's day. Now, a zombie may not have vital organs functioning anymore and can't bleed out, but they do still have to obey the laws of physics, and if you manage to destroy a vertebrae or blow out a kneecap, that zombie isn't walking anywhere.
True,
Our
kneecaps.
skeletal system
That's
is
true.
easy to overlook. It's on our inside and literally
Wow.
just sits there your entire life doing a whole lot of nothing. But
That's
one
actually
of the
pretty
things
smart.
it does do is provide structural support for your muscles, and without that support, we'd all basically be fleshy beanbags. For zombies, destroying that support is going to drop them faster than Taylor Swift drops #1 hits about ex-boyfriends. And while it may not be a
What kind
killing
of
blow that
fucking-
Sure, bro.
What is
It's
that?
joke.
If you're struggling with your mental health,
Blood
and
just had to
unsure who you
sneak
should
that
talk
in,
to,
didn't it?
then
Bro
you
made a
should
joke
talk to
about
us.
Taylor Swift to a video
Make the
about
call on
zombies.
your
People
mental
who
health
like
today.
Taylor Swift ain't
Phone
gonna
Head
Yeah,
to
I'm
Health
watching an
for
ad right
free
now.
support.
No way.
Fuck's sake. What?
With Hungry Jack's new Jack's fried chicken.
10 seconds
Southern
left.
style tenders, crispy, juicy,
Bro,
100%
you should've just
Aussie
streamed-
chicken
you should've just
that
streamed
will
our
have
stream.
you craving more and more. Now at Hungry Jack's.
really
You want to just do it right now?
Yeah. Six minutes in.
Let's go.
Bro, we would be like probably like 10 minutes in now. 8 minutes, something like that. Shit. Yeah, I can see it now.
It's here.
6
The
minutes,
zombie
6 minutes.
apocalypse. The dead roam the support for your muscles. And without that support, we'd all basically be
6 minutes, 12
beanbags.
seconds.
For zombies, destroying that support is going to drop them faster than
Right, it's way
Taylor
better.
Swift drops #1 hits about ex-boyfriends. And while it may not be a killing blow, that doesn't really matter if the zombie can't move around anymore. Number 6, learn first aid. You're gonna get hurt in the zombie apocalypse. It's pretty
Oh, my.
basic.
Yeah.
There's no hospital to be here, and no 911 call if an ambulance. On the one hand, it's kind of nice that you won't be shelling out your life savings just because you had to visit the hospital once.
It's
On
pretty
the
funny.
other, you're probably going to die now from totally preventable causes. We've largely forgotten our recent past, and the modern wonders of civilization have insulated us from just how terrible life is in the wild. but also just how terrible our bodies are for living in the wild. We're pretty much the slowest and weakest of animals amongst our weight class, and our bodies are just lousy at surviving in the wild. Our bones are basically made out of glass, in comparison to thick, tough cow or bear bones, and ridiculously thin skin has no thick fur to protect us from the cold, or cuts, or scrapes, and it's gonna be pretty important to learn how to take care of yourself and others. So learning some first aid now before your neighbors are trying to eat your brains is going to do wonders for your survival. Number 5. If nothing else, learn tourniquets. Every American soldier receives some basic first aid training, but the one thing that every soldier learns how to use and apply to themselves or others is the tourniquet. Our bodies are not only weak and pathetic in comparison to the other animals, but they have a lousy habit of gushing blood everywhere that really should stay inside your body. For minor to moderate cuts and wounds, applying direct pressure with makeshift bandages and perhaps elevating an affected limb will do. When the wound is serious enough though and your body won't stop pumping all its blood out onto the floor, no matter how much you ask it not to, you're going to have to take some drastic measures. In these circumstances, you're going to want to shut the flow off as soon as possible, and the best way to do that is a tourniquet. Simply tear a shirt into a long strip and tie it around your limb with a knot. Then place a stick over the knot and tie a second knot over the stick. Now, you're going to crank that stick in a circular motion, tightening the strip of the shirt tied around your limb. You're going to want to really crank that thing, because your goal is to shut off blood flow. But you need to ensure that you're shutting off the flow from deeply embedded arteries, so you're going to require a great deal of pressure. Once the blood has stopped doing its best to vacate your body, you're going to want to secure the stick with a second strip of cloth and tie that as tightly as you can as well, so that the stick doesn't unwind and loosen the tourniquet. Number 4, store up fuel, but only if you plan on using it within a year. In every zombie apocalypse show or movie, there's always the scene of survivors hot-wiring cars and making a last-minute escape from a horde of angry zombies. In the real world, depending on how long ago the apocalypse began, trying to do that will only leave you trapped in a very much dead car, surrounded by, well, the dead. That's because gasoline can and does break down over time, and trying to store it for later use is going to prove difficult under the best of circumstances. You can use some commercially available stabilizers to extend the lifetime of gasoline, but the best you're going to get is maybe a year and 2 or 3 months. Same goes for diesel fuel. So if you're hoarding up fuel, then good job, because you're becoming proactive about your survival, but
To make
also
your
make
own
sure
fuel.
you use it
Yeah.
as soon as possible before it becomes useless sludge. Number 3, learn to make fire without matches or a lighter. Yep, the fuel
That's pretty
inside
good.
a lighter
Just
will
get the
eventually
stick and
break
twist it
down
like
too.
this.
And matches, well, they can get ruined by the weather or zombies.
Easier
that
than it
make
looks.
brutally
I mean,
bleeding
harder
all
than
over
it
them.
looks.
Your best bet will be to learn how to make a fire the way our ancestors did. And if a bunch of prehistoric cavemen
Or you get the
can make
loot
fire,
bully.
then come on,
Loot
how hard can
with
it
the
be?
sun.
Well, actually, it's ridiculously difficult
What?
to make fire the
Yeah.
old-fashioned way, as many people who have to pass a military survival course have learned the hard way. Even if you know how to create a bow and a stick contraption to start the fire, and happen to have great kindling, it can still take a very, very long time to get even a tiny ember going. Instead, get your hands on a magnifying glass.
Yep, I
which
need
should
a
be
loot.
easy enough to
My
find in
magnifying
any
glass,
science
yeah.
class. You
I
can also
love
use
making
a
fires to this,
highly
bro.
polished
It's so
crystal,
satisfying.
which you can find in any new agey mystical mumbo jumbo store. As long as the crystal can focus light the way a magnifying glass does, you'll be able to get fire started in no time with nothing more than the sun. While this won't work very well on cloudy days, even with just a little bit of sun, you'll very quickly be setting fire to everything at
I used to do that when I was a kid, like
Just
on a
remember,
leaf. I used to hold a
forest
leaf
fires
and
are
just
still
do
a
this.
thing, and this time there's no
And then I
fire
used to see
department to
smoke.
put it out. Be ashamed to survive The Walking Dead only to roast yourself alive because you didn't listen to Smokey the Bear. Number 2, turn 2-liter soda bottles into cordage. There's few
The hell's
things in
cordage?
the world more useful than rope. And in a world gone all zombie, having rope can be a literal
Cool.
lifesaver. You can use it for everything, from harnesses, securing doors, making leashes for pet zombies,
They're gonna say,
and
like,
tying
cut
off
it
limbs
around.
that refuse to stop bleeding. In the survival community, rope is known as cordage, and you're going to definitely want to get your hands on some.
It's
Typically,
gonna-
you
you're
can
gonna
make
cut
a
the
pretty
bottom.
decent
Yeah.
cordage from tough, stringy plant fibers, pulling them off in long strands and wrapping them together to make a thicker single rope. This can be time-consuming and, depending on where you are geographically, impossible. While it won't make a rope, though, you can get a decent length of cordage that you can use for a
Well, just
variety
get the
of
rope
things,
then.
from
If you're
something
getting
that,
cold
thanks to
ones, just get the
mankind's
rope.
refusal to actually
Yeah.
put trash in the trash bin, is now a part of
makes sense.
every natural environment.
How do you make
2-liter
cordage
soda
out of bottles?
Simply take your trusty knife, you did acting
Wow.
your survival kit,
You
right?
cut it off.
And then cut off the bottom of the soda bottle so that you're left with what's essentially a giant funnel. Then cut down into the plastic on one side of the bottle for a thickness of cordage that you want. And after that, it's as simple as cutting the plastic into a long, unbroken strip. The trick is to keep the thickness even, but with a little practice, you'll easily get the hang of it. Besides, it's not like discarded plastic bottles are uncommon or anything. There's literally millions of them in the ocean alone, keeping all the sea turtles company. Number 1, build a shelter. So by now, if you've taken our advice, you've left the cities behind, and you're headed up north like you got Klondike fever. Civilization tends to get a bit sparse the further north you go, but because we're turning you into a bona fide zombie apocalypse surviving badass, you don't need no home, you'll make your own. While wild animals can sleep perfectly fine in the elements, we're pathetic, weak creatures who can't even survive one race
Yo.
night in the wilderness without the hides of other animals.
This guy's
to
just
protect us
roasting
from
the
cold.
humans.
Pretty high on your list of priorities.
Probably true,
Somewhere
to be
between
honest.
don't get
No, you
eaten
know
by
what it is.
zombies and find food and water, you're going to want to build a shelter. Your shelter should be tailored to your environment, and you'll need to learn how to make shelter suitable for the season you find yourself in. If you've headed up north, then during winter, shelter will actually be pretty easy. Simple snow caves can be deceptively warm and comfortable.
Bro, I wouldn't
because
do that
snow
shit,
is a
bro. Like,
big
anyone could just
active
come in.
insulator, and the chill of the snow outside your inner chamber will help keep the snow on the inside from melting.
What do you reckon,
You'll
though?
be you're heating the place up with your body. You can even make small fires inside snow
I'd rather
caves,
live
though,
underground.
Of course, you want to ensure that you have proper ventilation. To create a snow cave, simply dig into a deep snowbank about 3 feet down, and then level off a foot or two and make a sharp right or left turn, followed by one more sharp turn. The U-bend you create will help keep out chill winds and trap heat. On the ceiling, you'll want to bore out a small ventilation shaft, just a few inches wide, because even if you don't light a fire, snow caves can get lousy with CO2 from all your breathing. In the warmer months, building a mound-type stick hut is quick and easy, plus surprisingly sturdy and good at keeping out rain and wind if built correctly. Start by finding large, sturdy branches to act as the foundation, and then lay them against each other so they form a large dome. The weight of the branches leaning against each other should be sufficient to keep them propped up, so your initial foundation is probably going to require a lot of large, thick branches. After this layer, you'll want to find smaller, leafy branches to cover up the first layer thoroughly. Then simply repeat for at least 3 more layers to create multiple layers of leafy branches over your foundation of thick, strong branches. Once that's done, add a final layer of thick, strong branches to make
What this
sure that
guy's
strong
doing?
wind doesn't blow your thinner leafy branches away. In essence, what you've done
But
is
that's
create
really building a
multi-layered
shelter.
structure that will be very effective at keeping
I'll
the
just
wind and
I'll just
heat
break
away.
into a house
So
and make it
you
move.
may have a few small leaks in places. If you want to take your shelter building game to a whole new level though, fill buckets with fresh, wet river mud and smear a layer of mud in between the leafy layers and the final layer of thick branches. Once the mud dries and hardens, you'll have waterproofed your makeshift house, and you'll be riding out the apocalypse.
How's it gonna be
in true
waterproofed?
hobo fashion. Got any other great DIY life hacks for
Yeah,
surviving
the
the
mud
zombie
will just
apocalypse?
fucking
Let us know in the comments. And
dissolve.
as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.
Bro, if the mud gets wet, doesn't that mean it'll just get wet again? Like, get soft?
Yeah. That's good.
I don't know, the one thing I agree with that video is, you're right, you gotta prepare, bro, because it's coming.
Yeah, you gotta prepare before.
You gotta have like weapons like machetes, axes, anything.
Yeah.
You gotta have all that shit. This is gaming glasses as well, by the way. Anyway, you gotta have it rare. Otherwise, how are you gonna prepare when it starts?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, anything else you gotta say?
You're pretty much fucked. I agree with the video in some parts, but
Yeah, in some parts I agree.
think
But I'd rather live underground.
You need to stay on the move. Bro.
Yeah, you gotta stay on the move. You can't stay somewhere. That's like
Stay somewhere.
it's like me when I play Minecraft, bro. I can't stay in the same house. I gotta keep exploring.
You gotta
But
keep moving.
yeah, would you rather live like in a tree house?
Also, he said at the start. He said at the start, you'll be moving with a lot of people.
Nah, bro.
You move in small groups.
Yeah, you move in small groups till you build the trust to get like good amount of people.
Yeah, to each other. Yeah.
But would you live
Sounds good.
in a tree house or underground? I would live underground
Yeah, probably.
because you could just hide it with leaves. Like no one's gonna know that.
True.
But then if you're in a tree house, everyone's gonna see you every time.
Yeah. Unless it's like a hidden treehouse, but Yeah, it's only good because you're elevated.
That's true, but then again, who's gonna see like the bunker?
True. No, I'll take the ball.
Yeah, I'll take the bunker as well. Alright, what about this? What about this? You open it, you open the thing, there's stairs, and then there's a massive door. I like that. Not
Airlock.
double locked. Not just this. Not just you open it and then that's your whole house. I wouldn't take that. I'll take you open it, stairs down. You can close the top and then you open the door and you close it. That'll be like double doors. Alright, well, if anything else you gotta say, like, subscribe, and you gotta prepare.
Make sure you're ready. Yeah.
Make sure you're ready. See you guys in the next video, and yeah.
Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Peace out.